Welcome to the latest in Zelda music and fan theories. You're listening to Hyrule Academy, live on Radio Hyrule.
This is me, MC Gamer, and welcome to Hyrule Academy, your premiere show right on Radio Hyrule, where we talk all about Zelda lore and listen to some amazing music. And what a start to the show it was with our first song, Majora's Wrath by Theophany, of course from the Time's End album. It was a spooky song, really sets the mood for our discussions that we're going to have tonight. In fact, we're going to have lots of fun discussions, and it's going to be quite an interesting show. Mostly because today, February 13th, 2015, is the release day here in the United States of Majora's Mask 3D, the remake of the acclaimed classic from the early days. The early days. The N64. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was such a fun game, but I haven't played it myself since, well, it was at Blockbuster. We rented it from Blockbuster. I went home and I played it on a big old wooden CRT, one that sat on the floor. You know how those used to be. I played it then. I beat the game. I beat 100% as a kid. All off a Blockbuster rental. Never owned the game. Until later in my life, I owned it, but I never beat it again. Until today. So right now I'm inside Woodfall Temple. I got my new Nintendo 3DS, Majora's Mask Edition. I know they're hotly on... Like, what's the term? They're rare. Everybody wants one, but I have one. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. And so why am I talking all about this? Because tonight we're going to be discussing Majora's Mask. That's right. Our discussion of the night here at Hyrule Academy is going to be about Majora's Mask. The actual object, not the entire game. It's a huge game. There's so much to discuss in it. But today we're going to talk about Majora's Mask, the object. A mask that was used once by an ancient tribe in hexing rituals. And it would grant evil and wicked powers to the one who wears it. And eventually, the tribe decided that it needed to be sealed away. They sealed it in shadow forever. Well, that didn't work out because the happy mask salesman rediscovers it because he went to great lengths, he says, to discover it. He finds this mask. He brings it back, but it's stolen from him by the Skull Kid. And the Skull Kid wears it, and slowly it begins to devour the Skull Kid, forcing him into doing these evil deeds, like stealing horses, and, making the moon fall on the world, which is not good. But don't worry, because Link eventually defeats the demon Majora within the mask. Skull Kid is freed, and the mask becomes dormant. It just becomes a piece of wood for all we care about. And we have a lot of mysteries about this. While we have, some definite facts that I just explained, there's stuff we can theorize and we could really make it our own. And I really want to get into that tonight. And I want you guys to have some discussions inside the chat room at radiohyrule.com/chatroom. And we'll mention your messages later on in the show. So my first question for you guys is, who was this ancient tribe who used Majora's Mask? Were they the ones who created it? Where did it come from? Did it just stumble into their possession? But who is this ancient tribe? As you guys may know, I have a personal theory that I'll share later, which I'm sure you guys will also suggest. But also, where did they seal this mask? And how did the happy mask salesman retrieve it? And my last question is, what makes the mask dormant now? Was Majora kind of just in this mask, or was it always a bad mask, or was it one day cursed? Like what happened that made it evil? What is Majora to Majora's Mask, basically? So, like I said, discuss those questions over at the chat room, and I'll be featuring your messages later on inside the show. But for right now, my friends, we're going to jump right back into some more excellent Zelda music. I got a wonderful set list for you tonight, but I decided for this first start, we need to get pumped up. So I got you guys a little bit of electronica. I hope you guys don't object. I know some of you guys aren't all into it, but don't worry. I got you some acoustic later on to cover you. But for right now, let's listen to some electronica. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on Hyrule Academy, right on Radio Hyrule. Welcome back, everybody, to Hyrule Academy. It's a wonderful Friday night where I'm at. It might be Saturday where you're at, but who cares? Because it's Friday night where I'm at, and it means it's still Majora's Mask release night. And we're still talking about Majora's Mask here on the show. And we just listened to some great music. I got some raving reviews from the station master himself, and apparently some good words from the engineer as well. If you don't understand those titles, you didn't watch my MagFest vlog, but I'll forgive you for now. But we were listening to Mask of Madness by DJ the S. And so I was looking for some cool songs for our set list tonight. So a lot of the stuff you're going to be hearing this week actually came out this week. Like all this, like not all the songs, but a majority of the songs you're going to be hearing tonight are actually songs that released this week in celebration and excitement for this new game that came out. Well, remake, you know how, yeah. So we've been having a fun time inside the chat discussing Majora's Mask and this dark, evil, cursed object from the game that it's named. And we were thinking to ourselves, where could this mask have come from? And Slowpoke as a gamer is the one who comes to us and says, let's get this out of the way. I think it's a common theory. The Akana were the tribe that made Majora's Mask, and it was sealed when their empire died out. So as you know, there are wonderful Akana people who they existed once, but then they all died. But they were also known as a tribe, the Akana tribe. And a tribe also made Majora's Mask. So maybe because they died out, they don't have their mask anymore. Makes sense to me, am I right? And then Yunama says, I believe the tribe who held the mask was the Twily, or the ancestors of the Twily, as you know from Twilight Princess. And Captain Trina comes in, stating the theory that I love to death. Obviously, the tribe was the Akana and the Twily. So if you don't know my theory, here it is for you. I'm going to lay it out on the table so we can all feast upon its contents like a great banquet of lore. So my theory has always been that the ones who made the fused shadows in Twilight Princess and they invaded the Sacred Realm were the same tribe of people from Akana. So in Akana, a long time ago, there was this tribe, and they made or got in possession of Majora's Mask. They learned of its dark secrets, they used it in hexing rituals, but eventually they learned of a power in Hyrule by the name of the Triforce, and they wanted it. But they had already sealed away Majora's Mask, the source of their all-supreme power, so instead they crafted a new object that you could wear on your face that gives you supreme power, known as the Fused Shadows. And they go over there with their Fused Shadows, they stomp into Hyrule and say, give us that Triforce. They break down the doors of that Sacred Realm. They're about to get it until the goddesses say, light spirits, magic, now you're sealed. Don't touch our Triforce. Go back to whence you came. So that is my theory. And it's a theory that a lot of people have commonly kept. And to help support that, we have some other discussions in from the chat. For example, Slowpoke as a gamer says, there's a fact that the Fused Shadow has a similar eye to what Majora's Mask has. So if you want to go on your visual cues, you can go in and take a look at art of the Fused Shadows and see that it has the same very recognizable eye as Majora's Mask, which is a huge cue. And it's one of those things that it's hard to overlook from a game design perspective. It can't just be like, oh, it's just a coincidence. No, it looks pretty darn similar. And it's one of those things that really hits you in the head and you start to wonder. And Yasitaru actually is going to give us some more information. If not about the Twily, let's ignore the Twily for now. Let's just talk about it being the Akana who were the ones who had Majora's Mask. Inside Stone Tower Temple, there's a giant work of stone that appears similarly to Majora's Mask, Yasitaru says. And King, I'm going to butcher this, Agos du Akana, is it Egos? Igos, I never really pronounced it, I just read it. Igos Duakana is the one who teaches Link the Elegy of Emptiness, a song required to gain access to the tower. So what they're saying is, Majora's Mask symbolism can be seen in Stone Tower Temple, which only the King of Akana knows how to get into. Also, you may see that the symbol of the Akana you see on the brooch that the king wears, and throughout the castle, also appears in the Stone Tower Temple. Isn't that interesting? And it's very, very interesting to be honest with you. All this kind of adds up. It's a very strong theory, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys may think as an opposing theory to that. So don't necessarily just run away with this theory, as awesome as it may be. I want to hear some differing opinions, and I want to see what you guys can come up with. Convince me that I'm wrong. Come up with stuff that's interesting and new. And also, a reminder, I still want to hear more about where the heck they sealed this mask. Where the heck did they seal this mask? And how did the Happy Mask Salesman of all people get it? Answer those questions, ask me some more, and we'll be back in just a few right here on Radio Hyrule. This is Hyrule Academy. Let's play some crazy music. We're going to start out with a little bit orchestral, and then we're going to get into some wacky stuff, and then settle it back down for some acoustic. And so it's some fun stuff. So I'll be back in just a few. Welcome back to Hyrule Academy, everybody. I'm MC, and we've been having a wonderful evening right here on Radio Hyrule, where we are just listening to some of the wackiest music that I could find for this week. I wanted to make sure I made you guys have some giggles, because I knew we'd be having those serious discussions. We'd be like, oh, these evil death people are storming our realms, and they're making torture masks. So I was like, I need to lighten the mood. Majora's Mask is a game, and we have fun with it. So I need to make sure we have some fun here on this show as well. So we had 4 songs, actually, in that little set. First was Then the Healing Came by George R. Powell, who you may know from the Hero of Time movie. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, it kind of went away fast. After that, we heard Clocktown Funk, which is a parody of Uptown Funk by Really Freaking Clever. I believe it came out today. It came out literally today. And I contacted Really Freaking Clever. He's a friend of mine. I've done a video or two with him. And I was like, guy, hey, I do a radio show, and I need that song. And he was like, go ahead. It's a Bruno Mars parody, and you guys loved it. So I hope you guys you had a laugh amidst the discussions. After that, we heard a little bit more wacky music. We heard Kesha Plays Majora's Mask, which is a TikTok parody. And that was written by Brentalfloss. I don't have the singer's name in front of me, and I apologize. But if you go to Brentalfloss's channel, you'll be able to find it, and you can listen to it to yourself and check out the artist who was singing as well. After that, we brought it back down. We had to simmer down because we have discussions to do. We may have had recess, but we still have to come back for math class afterwards. It was Clocktown Acoustic by Tom Winter. So thank you to Tom Winter for another amazing acoustic guitar cover. I really love what he does on his YouTube channel, so be sure to check him out. Anyways, now let's get into some discussions about Majora's Mask, which you guys have been saying this entire show over inside the Radio Hyrule chat room. First off, we're going to start with a mention about the manga version of Majora and the story of that. And while the canon is not applied to the manga, it's worth noting. It's worth mentioning, so it helps inspire you. And heck, it may be, how do we put this? It may be non-canon, but that doesn't mean it's not canon, if that makes sense. It's not confirmed, but it's technically not unconfirmed. But anyways, so Blue Moon Aura says, I remember in the manga version of Majora's Mask that Majora started out as a dragon, kind of also resembled a goat. And the mask was carved out of its hide after it died from dancing for 3 days and nights. It was forced to dance. Eventually it just dies. And then they make a mask from its hide. And that's so dark and dreary. And you know what? The idea that could be the actual thing, that the tribe made it dance, that's still a possibility. So, hey, Thank you for mentioning that, Blue Moon Aura. We don't usually hear about the manga too much during our discussions because a lot of people regard it as deconfirmed canon, when technically it's just not. It's just not confirmed canon. That makes so little sense. Afterwards, we heard from Kairati, who said, is it Kairati or Karate or Kairoti? Saying, could the mask be from Demise? And while that's a possibility, and I'm going to let you roll with it, if you're feeling it, go with it, my friend. Slowpoke as a gamer brings up a point saying, it's doubtful, since Termina is a different world from Hyrule, Demise technically wasn't there. And so it could not happen. However, there's something that you kind of help spur on a discussion, Kairoti. People thought about the idea of Majora being similar to a god. And of course, in Majora's Mask, we see the closest thing to gods being the giants. And so Program Ninja's theory was, I think Majora was a giant that was cursed inside a mask for his evil deeds. And that is a theory that I'm going to come back to, because we got a very expansive idea on it, but I wanted to thank Program Ninja for that. After her words, we heard from Giovanni Vaughn, who wanted to talk about who made Majora's Mask. And here's the interesting thing. Giovanni Vaughn thinks it's the Sheikah tribe. And the people drop the lids of their desks. There's pencils dropping all over the floor. People say, what? What are you talking about? The Sheikah? Why the heck would they? They were the Shadow Tribe. They were the Shadow Tribe in Hyrule. And what if they betrayed the royal family? And they got caught. And they were banished. Or defeated. And they were tossed into the Termina. And that's where they made Majora's Mask. Ooh, that's a theory, folks. That's a theory and a half right there. What the heck? It's a crazy theory, and I don't have any huge thoughts on other than it could be possible. We don't really see many Sheikah anymore. Perhaps Impa was like the betrayer. Maybe she was like, my people are going to betray you, my princess, my king. And maybe instead of being like, well, thank you, Impa, I won't kill you. We're going to throw all the Sheikah into Termina, but you can stay on our staff. But I don't want you near me. Here, take care of my daughter. Crazy theory. I know. I'm off. I'm out of here. Captain Trina wants to talk about the Happy Mask Salesman for a bit, and how he kind of has a bit of a weird connection with this mask. He says inside the game, I went to great lengths to get that legendary mask. When I finally had it, I could sense a... Oh, I'm sorry. I got to reread that. If I'm going to do it with gusto, I got to try again. What would the Happy Mask Salesman even sound like? I went to great lengths to get that legendary mask. When I finally had it, I could sense the doom of a dark omen brewing. It was that unwelcome feeling that makes your hair stand on end. And he called it a precious mask as well at some point. And Yasitaru says, if you came across an object that brought a great sense of doom and despair, would you call it precious? And there's a lot of weird things we had discussed inside the chat, but to summarize our general collective feelings on why the Happy Mask Salesman could be feeling this, we have one crazy theory and one more tame theory. I'll tell you the crazy theory in a little bit, but the tame theory was maybe he's just a collector. And I brought up a nice joke, and I want to make sure I say it on air so it's recorded for all time. It's kind of like Amiibo. So if there's a Rosalina Amiibo, you know those things are really rare right now. Who knows what they'll be in a year, but really rare Amiibo, Rosalina. As a collector, I want it. If Rosalina's cursed, that's just something I'm going to have to live with. I want it on my shelf. Just like the Happy Mask Salesman wants the rarest mask in the world. This mask he fought for because it was sealed away. It was a legendary mask. And as a mask salesman, that's your entire life purpose. It's in the title. So he must have won it. It may have been a not for sale mask, but hey, So there's a weird thought to keep in your minds tonight, that maybe he wanted it just as a collector. But we'll talk about the crazy theory in just a moment. So the Happy Mask Salesman can traverse dimensions. He goes between Hyrule and Termina, after all. Could he go to the Twilight Realm? Now, so Captain Trina brings up the theory because of this and saying, hey, wait a minute. Okay, if we're going to go along with this whole idea, MC Gamer, Akana and the Twily are the same and they made Majora's Mask. What if they were sealed away with Majora's Mask? What if Majora's Mask was just thrown into that old mirror as well? And the Happy Mask Salesman went into the Twilight Realm and somehow found the mask. I don't know who he had to fight for it. I don't know how he fought them. I guess he does have a lot of masks that seem to be pretty cool. But maybe the Happy Mask Salesman's kind of a boss. And maybe he's jumping in Twilight Realms fighting for these masks. So that's not even the crazy theory about the Happy Mask Salesman. We got a lot of Happy Mask Salesmen to talk about for some reason. But an alternate theory of where it could have been sealed brought to us by Program Ninja again, saying, what if Majora's Mask was sealed inside the Giant's Realm? The Giant's Realm is referring to the area that you see when you learn the Oath to Order. So you learn the Oath to Order, and you're confronted by these giants, but where are you really? Is it a place where the giants live? Is that where Majora's Mask was sealed? Did the Happy Mask Salesman go there to get it? We don't know, but an interesting theory nonetheless by Program Ninja. So now, Captain Trina says, okay, this whole curse that we're talking about, maybe the mask itself isn't cursed, it just has a demon in it. Before that, it was just a freaky looking wood thing, is what Captain Trina said. And afterwards it goes inert because the spirit has been defeated. And that's the general theory, that Majora's Mask wasn't created evil, but it became evil. But it could go either way, so whichever one you're feeling tonight, go with it. Trust it in your gut. Now it's time for the wild theory about the Happy Mask Salesman, brought to you by Slowpoke is a Gamer. Now, I don't even know how I'm going to try to justify any of this, but I want to make sure I throw it out there for you guys, because it's actually a pretty awesome, crazy theory. It's one of those that make you go, okay. The Happy Mask Salesman is descended from the fierce Deity. Okay, goes further. And the fierce Deity was the original one to turn Majora into a mask. And then Happy Mask Salesman teaches his powers that he got from the Deity to Link inside the form of the Song of Healing. And that's why he's trying to, maybe that's why he's trying to collect the masks. Maybe that's why Happy Mask Salesman wants masks. Maybe he's trying to find this mask that his ancestor took care of. And maybe he's trying to find the fierce Deity mask in it all, because he wants to become his full form. I don't even know, man. I'm going crazy with this one. That's a theory and a half, my friend. Yeah, I think you need to start a blog and send me a link with a detailed description, because we don't have time for that tonight. I'll be going for 5 hours on that theory, because I think that this is just fan fiction enough to work. And that's why I like it. I like it, Slowpoke. I like it. So, interesting theories, my friends. Interesting theories. We got to listen to some more music. We'll be back in just a few to finish off tonight's show. I got you some more lyrics. I know you like the lyrics. This one's a little bit more tame, though. This one's not funny. This is chill. And then I got something else for you that you might enjoy. Anyways, I'll be back in just a few. Thanks for listening to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule. Whoa. Hi, welcome to Hyrule Academy. I'm MC, but Captain Trina in the chat blew my mind just 5 seconds ago. I kid you not. Okay, Captain Trina comes along. She just walks up and she's like, all right, you know that Akana is the Twily theory. What if Midna was the Terminian counterpart to Princess Zelda, since Akana is the only one with royalty after all? And I was like, oh, what? What? That's a fair theory blowing my way from Captain Trina. And I'm just going to let it sit there for you all nice while oh my gosh. What were we even listening to? What was that music? I got to check my notes. I forgot. I just fell apart. First up, we heard Astral Observatory with lyrics from Booz and Walsh. Booz and Walsh, an excellent piece of music. I love Booz and Walsh's stuff. He adds lyrics to Zelda songs. Nobody asked him to, but he does a great job at it, so that's all we care about. After that, we heard Stone Tower Temple from the good old guy, Doc Jazz 4. Got to meet him at MagFest. Super chill dude. And I had a very fun time listening to him play some Ocarina live, but inside that version, he did it pre-recorded because I don't have him inside the studio with me tonight. Can we get on that? Radio Hyrule staff, are you listening? Can we just fly Doc Jazz over here to play songs for me while I talk? That'd be wonderful. I don't think we have the budget for that. Anyways, to finish up tonight's show, I want to quickly mention all the wacky theories that we came up with tonight. First of all, what is Majora? Is it some dragon goat that we skinned after we made it dance for 3 days? I don't know. Is it Demise? I don't know. Is it a cursed fifth giant? I don't know. Did it just appear inside a rock? Probably. That's probably the Nintendo explanation for it. What is Majora, Nintendo? I don't know. It just was inside the mask. We put it in it because it's a video game. And we're like, Nintendo, that's not how you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to give us a detailed explanation. But the mask itself, was it made by the Akana people? Are they the same people as the Twilight people? Or was it even the Sheikah people? The Sheikah people doing the bad stuff in Hyrule. Maybe they got banished. That's a wacky theory and a half right there. That's another thing that I want a detailed blog post on. I'm trying to make it a reality, you know? So they sealed it away. Did they seal it away, the Majora's Mask? Did we seal it away inside the Twilight realm? If we're going along with the theory that the Twilight people are the Akana people and they made the mask? Was it sealed there? Or maybe it was sealed inside the Giants realm? Either way, the Happy Mask Salesman finds it using dimensional travel, which we know he can do. And is he just a collector? Or perhaps, is he descended from the fierce deity himself? Well, we can't do that tonight. We gotta go. We got things to do and people to see this week. But I'm sure you guys will be buzzing with that in your heads and minds as you play Majora's Mask 3D, which of course just released. I know I'll see that Happy Mask Salesman guy and I'll be like, look at this man. He descended from the deity himself, didn't he? And he's gonna give me one of those smiles back, like heh heh heh. And he's gonna be like, and he's gonna be thinking to himself. He's gonna say, he knows, but I will not tell him. If somebody hack the ROM, find the hidden text that says, "Hi, my name is the Happy Mask Salesman, and I descended from a god." That's all I want to see this week. That's all I want to see. Anyways, thank you all for listening. It has been a wonderful show. Next week, Friday, 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we'll be talking all about New Hyrule. That's right, from Spirit Tracks, the land that was founded by Link and Tetra from the Wind Waker. We're going to talk about New Hyrule and how it came to be, where it came from, and some other associated factors. Be sure to go over and donate at radiohyrule.com/donate. I feel like I said donate so many times. radiohyrule.com/donate. It's a wonderful place where you can go and throw some rupees into a big wallet and make the station better. Win-win, if you ask me. Maybe your wallet doesn't win, but your happiness wins, and that's all that matters in this world. Anyway, in Termina, you can just put it in the bank, and it'll be safe, even if you play the Song of Time. I'm giving a thumbs up, very awkwardly, but nobody can see it. Email me, mc@supermcgamer.com, if you have any requests or discussion suggestions, and I'll be sure to read them and consider them for a future show. But for now, I have a life to live. And by that I mean play Majora's Mask 3D for the next week and a half. Actually, for the next 3 days. And then go back. And then do it again. And then go back. And do it again. But to leave you off, I have one last song. It's actually going to be from Smooth McGroove, The Oath to Order. Thank you all for listening to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule, everybody. I'll talk to you guys next week.